Hi, this is John Harchar, and as mentioned, for this little bonus video episode of Valleys of Numenor, I'll just show you the videos that I used to come up with the Godzilla episode, both the Godzilla films and the extra ones. So we're going to start off with the Classics edition of Goidzilla, which we know as Godzilla. This came out, I think, 2005 or so, and then everything followed like quickly after. So this has the original Godzilla from 1954 and Godzilla King of the Monsters from 1956, the one with Raymond Burr. So that was a very nice package of this. This is the old DVD era. I think most of these are all on DVD. I'll get to the Blu-rays at the end. So that was the first one. Then next up is Godzilla Raids Again. This has the original Japanese version and the later American one retitled. They don't have Gigantus the Fire Monster on here. They literally have the title sequence where it said Gigantus Fire Monster cut out and in just quick Chiron just in Godzilla Raids Again. It's a little on the cheap side, but is what it is. I remember I got this on videotape originally back around 1988 or so because I saw it and all of a sudden I see just Godzilla. What's Godzilla Raids Again? And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, is that the one that I saw when I was a little kid? And then, as I said, I later found out it was just Royal Monsters. But Classics came out with this as well. Now for the next movie, we did Rodan. So that Classics also took care of that too. They did a double pack. They did Rodan and War of the Gargantuas. We'll do War of the Gargantuas in the other movie episode when I get around to it. That'll take Mysterians and a couple movies we'll show here. But the weird thing is Criterion has the rights to both of these movies, but they haven't put up their own edition of it yet. So that's odd. But you get both, on both of these movies, you get the original Japanese version and the American version. War of the Gargantua is stream. One of them is like really dark. I'm like, why didn't you just use the film image you had from the other copy, which looks just fine? Yeah, that's an odd one. So that's that. Then the next film we did was, remember we did Varan the Unbelievable. This has just, I believe it just has the Japanese version and the international dubbed version, if I remember correctly. It doesn't have the American version, the one that's on, you can find that on Amazon Prime right now, streaming. And like I said, it's like a completely different movie. It's like they barely use this. They use like 15, 20 minutes of it tops. And it's all a bunch of an American guy, trying to, change, trying to get ready for a different culture with his Japanese wife. And then this monster just keeps showing up. So this was this was out there, and this was the first time this version had ever shown up in America at all. So that's a decent one there. Then next up was something that Sony put out. Sony does Classics. They own Classics Media too, but they also had the rights to a couple of Columbia films that were done in the old days. And the three of them were Battle in Outer Space, The H-Man, and last but not least, Mothra. So you get both versions of Mothra on here. You get the Japanese and the American one. I believe you got the same thing on here. You get the original Japanese and the American cuts of all three of these. So, like I said, we'll deal with these other two in a later set. Like I said, I'm a little disappointed that Criterion hasn't gotten a hold of Mothra yet. It would really go together with Rodan and all the Godzilla films, but at least it's available. I think it's on a Blu-ray somewhere. I haven't seen that one yet. Now, for King Kong versus Godzilla, we had to just rely on this one. This good old-fashioned, cheapy, $5 thing. Oh, well, actually, they did it's a little extra. But as you can see inside, there's like nothing in there. It's like something you dig out of the $5 bin at Walmart. So this has been out, and you can now find this in any multiple versions. You could find it with just this. You could find it with another movie we'll do later. You see there's a triple one out now with Peter Jackson's King Kong, since Universal did that. So this is what I relied on for the American version of that. So that's there. Now we go back to the Classics and Mothra versus Godzilla. You do get Godzilla versus the Thing on here as well. So you have the other version there because they give you the original Japanese and then the American. Extra Godzilla, the three-headed monster. And again, both versions. And like I said, on this one, I think the American's a little better. There's a little better flow to it. So that's good here. Was really Invasion of Astro Monster the best name they could have given this movie? Couldn't it? Monster Zero is actually a much better title. I'll have to be honest. Now, even though the American International version didn't come out until 5 years later and then immediately showed up on Chiller Theater, that has the better title. There's not too much, like I said, there's not too many differences. It's very strange watching a lot of these. It's not so much that sequences were cut out like Godzilla, the first Godzilla movie, but it's just they kept shortening scenes. It's like, if the Japanese version was like 6 seconds, the American version was like 4.5 or 5. It's just like, okay, let's get moving. Come on. So like I said, with Mothra, it plans out. It's just you keep cutting these little bits and pieces along the way. It ends up like 11 minutes. It's like, oh Jesus. So that was this one. So now classics for some reason didn't have a bunch of the other ones. This is the wrong one. I'll fix that in a minute. So I had to go to This Is Kraken releasing. They did Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, aka Beer Horror from the Deep. Now let me check my list. I forgot something. If this includes in English, and I think what this is. Okay. In a lot of the original films, they just did what they call an international dub, which was in English. But when the American distributor got it, they went to their own company, which was Walter Reed Titra Films, and they did a dub, and that's the one that we saw on TV all the time. So this doesn't include that. You can find that out there, as I call it. But you do get an English version of it on here. So that's that one. Now, I don't have my Son of Godzilla laying around. I'll plug it in here from the internet. It's the cheapy Sony DVD. Actually, it wasn't that cheap. I think it was like $14.99. For some reason, I don't think Kraken ever got a hold of it, and it wasn't part of the classics release. So it's kind of orphaned. So we just have this version of it. Now back to me. King Kong Escapes, again, cheapy version. Same thing with King Kong Escapes, or King Kong versus Godzilla, I should say. Again, you find it at $5 bin or on the other extra DVDs. Now, for Destroy All Monsters, it was interesting. Tokyo Shock put out a very nice package here, but it only included the original Japanese release. And no, hang on. I think this included all three, if I remember, because I think I said that. Yeah, I think this one actually includes all three. Now, I actually bought this one before. I'm trying to remember if I bought this before, and if this one maybe also has the Walter Reed Titra version, and Tokyo Shock had I think Tokyo Shock actually had all three of them, and I had bought this before and just haven't gotten rid of it. So anyway, Destroy All Monsters was taken care of by Tokyo Shock. Tokyo Shock did a great job. They did most of the other ones, and they did a good job on them. So now we go back to classics, and we have All Monsters Attack, aka Godzilla's Revenge. The cringe-inducing one when we were kids, because this really didn't have much to do with Godzilla. It was just a kid's dream sequence. But you got both versions on here. Now we go back to Kraken. Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, aka Godzilla versus Hedorah. And again, you get the original Japanese and the international dub. You don't get the TV version that we saw that had Save the Earth as the theme song on top of it. I have to look that one up. I'm trying to see if I can find it online. I don't remember seeing it, but yeah, so that's what I used for this one. Then Kraken also did Godzilla versus Gigan, also known as Godzilla on Monster Island. Again, just have the Japanese and the American international dub, not the American, the international dub. Now, let me see. I think Tokyo Shock did Godzilla versus Megalon. Am I correct? Yes. Tokyo Shock did Godzilla versus Megalon. A very nice package here. Actually, I think put this out at Blu-ray at the same time. I just didn't want to spend that much money for a Blu-ray for Godzilla versus Megalon at this point. But this was a very nicely done one here. This is the kind of thing that I had for Son of Godzilla that I showed you. But this is just the old cheapy. And like I said, not so cheapy. It's like $14.99 for Sony. And again, just has Japanese and the international dub. Then finally, Classics came back, and I had the last one, Terror of Mechagodzilla. Again, we don't have the TV version on here, the one that I saw in the 4:30 movie in the days before Oprah. That was part of some of the later Monster Weeks. Like I remember the first Monster Week I saw was like Godzilla versus the Thing, Monster from a Prehistoric Planet, Dagora, Dinosaurus, stuff like that. And then eventually they added this one in. So this was Terror Mechagodzilla. So that was what I originally used. And then, like I said, in 2019, Criterion went all out and they gave us this. Big Godzilla set. All sorts of things in here. And you have all the Blu-rays here. Let me just show you. You had some pictures in here along the way. Is it back here? Wait, hang on. Let's get this right. Okay, let's see. For example, okay, here's this one. That's actually the end. So let's see. Here's Godzilla. Godzilla raids again. Come on. King Kong versus Godzilla. Mothra versus Godzilla. Ghidorah the three-headed monster. Attack of Astromech. See what Godzilla doing the jig. Ibira the crab monster. Son of Godzilla, Little Minya there. Like, look at how scary is that? Destroy all monsters, and there they all are. All monsters attack. Oh, yeah. All monsters attack from stock footage. Yeah. Godzilla versus Ghidorah with the smog monster. Godzilla versus Gigan. Oh, there we are. 3 more. Godzilla versus Megalon. It almost looks like John Belushi in the suit there. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Godzilla versus the Bionic Monster until Universal threatened to sue. And then Terror of Mechagodzilla. Plus, they also give you the bonus disc in there, which I was actually just watching before this, which has the Japanese version of King Kong versus Godzilla. Actually has the guy who made Godzilla versus Hidoro Banno. He did an hour-long interview with Ishiro Honda. So, like, kind of welcomed him back into the family that way. A couple things on Ifukube's music. These movies, you could tell with King Kong versus Godzilla, it's a totally different feel by using the old Universal stock movies compared to Ifukube's score. You know, he was as important to these movies as Honda and Tsuburaya. They're totally different films. It's like, that's just it. When you think of Japanese monster movies, you just immediately hear the music, and that's Ifukube. Then there's also, like an hour-long thing of all unused footage from Toho special effects units. And they actually start out, they made a bunch of World War II movies. They actually looked pretty cool. There was this one shot of a whole bunch of like bombers flying by and everything. That was neat. And then they did a whole bunch of stuff from the Toho monster movies, including the Godzilla versus Manda fight that they Did, and then they realized, wait, why are the monsters fighting? Because the aliens are in control. They shouldn't be bothering one another. So anyway, this is it. Most of these things, this is it. You can get them pretty cheap. The Godzilla thing I got on the July 50% off Criterion sale at Barnes and Noble. So that was nice. Actually, I got it. I know I didn't get it at Barnes and Noble, but Amazon dropped the price, like right around the same time. So I ordered it off of them. But you can get it. Usually every July, Barnes and Noble does a 50% off Criterion sale. So check there or Amazon to see if they meet it. Now, of course, right after I finished, I realized that, oh, wait, I forgot the original Criterion version of Godzilla that came out in between once the classics ones were done and the Criterion Blu-ray set. So here it is. I have it somewhere. I haven't sold it off yet. Just didn't dig it out for this. But this is basically, it's the classics version, just done in Blu-ray and cleaned up a little bit. But they had a lot of the same extras and everything. So that was your quick little bonus episode here, little video episode. So hope you enjoyed it. And now I have to get writing on the next Valleys of Numenor episode for Edgar Rice Burroughs. That's just it. It's like I got to write a quick little bio of him in the beginning before I can get on to the stories. The stories I could do off the top of my head, but like all the things he did, he was like really a jack of all trades. So, well, let me get on to that.